You are looking for health, emotional balance, yoga, intelligent nutrition, anti-aging, and biohacking. It's starting another Strategies for Plenitude with Bruno Bartolic. Namaste. So, another program starting. Welcome, Vico. So, today my guest is Vico Madrid. She is from Toledo, Spain, and she's teaching yoga since 2019. She's my colleague here from Copenhagen, and lately we are teaching online a lot. And we decided to discuss today about the good and bad sides of online teaching and online practice. Welcome, Vico.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you for inviting me to discuss about this topic of that I think most of yoga teachers we are facing right now, right? The online teaching.
Yes. So first of all, tell me, how did you start for online teaching? How it was the change?
Yeah. The change was, of course, due to COVID. All the yoga studios were closed. And then, but there was a huge need from people to get it back to the yoga practice because even more than ever, they were facing a lot of stress, even with the quarantine periods being for so many hours at home with their kids. If they have kids, so they have these added stressing factors that they could not do the yoga practice in the studio, but they wanted to, of course, get the benefits of the yoga practice. And then there was this moment where, based on the need of my students, it was like, can we do an online teaching, way of teaching online? So all the yoga teachers, I guess, we face the moment of from one day to another, how do we find a system of software who is going to support our yoga classes, our yoga courses, our yoga teaching trainings in the way of being online, because that was the possibility that we had, was only online in the beginning, right? And then that was the first group I had. I remember the first pure online group from one of my courses, that it was 8-week course. I made a program but focus on stress release, because I knew that there was a huge demand of that, and that was where people were literally asking me for. I'm so stressed. I don't want to get depressed. I'm getting a lot of anxiety. I need to have sort of yoga routine, yoga practice to have at home while I can keep going through this period. So this is how I made this program specifically for online. So I had around 10 people, and the good positive things about being online is that it was not only people from my students that they will come to my studio in the physical studio in Copenhagen. There was also other people from Spain that they were also joining, and other countries. So we were a small group, but we made this bonding way during the 8 weeks program that I did to stress release, because I was what they needed. And I found the struggle of, okay, how can I make this work? And my first course online, it was purely by Zoom. So I was just, sending the Zoom link for setting the meeting of when we meet, and it was the same time every week for the same amount of time. And then we will talk a little bit to open the group in terms of how you're feeling, because it wasn't really the moment of where quarantine was in the peak moment. And we were all facing all this new thing, try to see how we can do better in the way of not getting all that stress in our body, right?
So you have never teach in by Skype. It was always in the
Always
Zoom.
Zoom. Yeah, always Zoom. Yeah, I got the subscription when you can have up to 100 people joining, which it was, of course, it was not free, but it was the one that it could get all the things I needed for that moment, because before you could only do half an hour, I think, free. half an hour free calls, but my classes were 90 minutes, most of them. So
I started online classes much before COVID. I was teaching, as I was teaching by Skype first, but much before Zoom exists. Because I was traveling in different countries too. I was living in Brazil, then Croatia, then France. So I was leaving some students behind, and sometimes I was teaching by Skype. It was an opportunity of connect. It was like something very new because nobody was doing that. So I had some few classes, and it was mostly private classes. So I had some experience of online classes, but it was not so, as how can I say, not so professional, because nowadays I have lights, I have better background, I have better microphone, so I have a better setup. I have a big screen here behind where I can see better my students, not only the computer here. So it helps a lot. So start the online classes in a regular basis and trying to improve.
I know.
I will show you. I will show you one detail. For example, let me see. Let me test this audio I'm speaking. Okay. And now the original audio from the computer. Take a look, the difference. So imagine making a yoga class with this sound, and now let's see this sound. It's better. Came back. Okay. So it was a learning process, because in my teacher training, I never had this topic, how to offer a high quality online yoga class. So I think it counts. For example, it counts even the clothes we are wearing, depending of the background. So we need to have some video experience as well. It's not just teaching. You need to know about lighting, to know about
or if you see how I did on my living room to make the setup, to have the only white wall I had on the living room without painting, to have, and I was always so aware of wearing black. Some people could see me moving better if I could not wear like a light yoga outfit, because light colors, because I will be making any difference, any contrast with the background. So that's a good point. So every day of the week when I had the classes, I need to push the table away, make this improvised yoga studio at home, because everything was closed. I mean, even if you wanted to go to the yoga studio, you could not go because it was quarantine moment. But I remember I enjoyed that part of teaching and getting into this trial and error of the era, in the way that the microphone, right? I remember the first investment I did was the microphone. I didn't have the best camera, but I knew that the sound needed to be perfect, because even if they will not see me that well, they could hear, because I'm very focused on giving a short and clear guidance by my voice, so they can know how to move and what is the next pose or transition.
And also, when the sound is very noisy and uncomfortable, people they can deal with that. When the image is not so clear, they can still practice. But when the sound is noisy, it's very difficult to keep their concentration. So let me ask you. Nowadays you're still teaching online, right? And you're still teaching at home, or
no, nowadays I do mostly in the yoga studios, and now I found this new way of combination. I call it like the hybrid method, and this is based of how people are working nowadays, when they have this combination of working from home and working from the office. They do either 3 days in home or 2 days in the office, or depends on the workplaces. But what I found is that I make this hybrid combination where in the yoga studio, so having two groups, but I try to make this as a one group in the way like I have the people that they are online and I have the people that they are on the studio. What happens? This can be very confusional for the yoga teacher. Very accessible for people who are at home because they don't need to take, for example, the commute time to go to the yoga studio to take a yoga class. So it's convenient for the students, but for the teacher, I think with more practice, it's getting easier to make these two groups as a one full group.
So at the same time, you are teaching online and face to face.
Yeah.
And you have just one camera on you, or you have a camera on the group as well?
No, I have a camera. That's the thing. I have the camera on me, but I have a laptop with a screen on the side, so I can see, and the other people in the studio can see them as well, so they can know who they are. And because the way how I teach is normally courses, so we have a little bit of, in the beginning, we talk on how we're feeling, and we are going to talk about the theories of the yoga practice. We are going to link to the movement after. So then I make sure that everyone is included in the group so they can hear. For example, then I can move the camera. This is the latest thing. I got this really nice live stream camera because then I can take it like this to point the person who is talking so they can hear what this person is saying. And it feels so much of a group in the matter of trying not being in the physical studio, but we feel all included.
And you can still show some poses when necessary. So the camera is well adjusted on you to demonstrate.
Exactly. Because, for example, if we are then discussing or making some shared circles in the beginning of the class, then this is where the camera moves. So the really good thing about it is that I have a tripod where the camera I bought can be attached with a little screw. So then I can move the tripod, and when we start the yoga practice, then the camera is fixed on a position where they can see me and hear me very well. But I mean, in the beginning of having this discussion or talking about theory, something about yoga.
But when you are walking in the room, if you need to walk in the room and adjust the students, the camera can follow you or no?
At the moment, I don't have that setup. But I'm thinking if I have a sort of helmet, I can put the camera in. That would be the next level. Yeah. But so nowadays, I don't go around to adjust physical as much as I did before. That's another disadvantage for my part of a yoga teacher. I like to give the physical alignment to people. You know, sometimes when they just say, spread your, raise your arm, and then you have this extra centimeter to go with the arm. If the teacher comes and pulls
but why? But why? Why you are not? Because the COVID? Still because of COVID?
I think I will ask in the classes if they want to be adjusted or not.
I'm not asking. I'm already touching like before. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm getting there, but I'm still in the position where I'm okay with touching people, but I don't know if people it's okay. So I would like to give the opportunity if they want to be adjusted or not. So I will ask in the beginning. And
makes sense. Yeah.
You know, even sometimes myself as a yoga student, if I go to a class, maybe if one day I feel like I don't want to be touched because I want the teacher to hold space.
Yeah, I think for my students, it seems that the COVID, it was so long ago that we forgot about it. So we are, so my face-to-face classes are normal, but in my face-to-face classes, I'm not bringing all the setup for I was thinking about, but I think it would be, maybe this is one disadvantage because depends of the atmosphere of the class in the intimacy you have with the group. If you have a live stream with somebody else watching, maybe can steal the attention.
Interfere.
But I think it's also a valid possibility. But let's talk. Let's see. For the first, let's talk about the teacher's perspective. So for me, I can say it's interesting to teach online. I think this is the best advantage. Let's say the advantage first. So the best advantage is that I can see that the student is practicing because he really wants to practice yoga. He's not going to the yoga studio to see a beautiful place or to stay with cool people or to see the teacher. He's really practicing because he wants yoga. And this, I think it's priceless because when you are teaching for a group and you see that people are there because they want to just uh, escape from the routine or meet good people or stay in a comfortable place, I know that this is also can be real, can be okay. But when people are really practicing because they love yoga, this is another satisfaction for the yoga teacher. So I felt that because I saw people practicing at home, and they it was really helpful for them, yeah, practicing and stay with themselves. Another thing is that I'm helping them to practice in their environment. This is, I think it's super interesting because see, you put your yoga mat in your living room, and sometimes you have kids playing or dogs playing, and
Or
something happen, and
cats.
and
Yeah.
and you teach yourself to build your self practice.
Yeah.
So I think it helps because when you go to the studio, maybe you are always depending on that place, that ideal place for practice. Yeah? You have, I have that perfect environment, is silent, the floor is perfect, the teacher has good voice, everything is fine. In my home, have many distractions, but if you learn to practice in these conditions, then you carry yoga with yourself wherever you go,
That is what I
right?
wanted to share there, and I think is was really beautiful in the way to see how students were committed to yoga. As you said, I saw a huge shift of the students I had before. Some of them I still have the same, but I have some new people coming to yoga classes also because I have put the awareness of, oh, maybe yoga can help me to release stress, to be focused, to face these mini distractions that you will find in your home, in your living room. Yeah, and I love to share the practice with dogs, cats, because they are there as well, and of course it's part of remind me
And
in
kids,
the moment, in kids,
kids,
yeah,
kids
and
jumping in
mindful.
their dads and the moms. It's nice. It's nice to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 exactly. So I think this helps in the translation of how to take the learnings on the yoga mat off your yoga mat if you are practicing at home,
Yeah.
because you are already putting yourself in those moments where, okay, I have a cat that wants to scratch my mat. What should I do? Should I tell the cat get off, or should I
Yeah.
come back to my breath? I know the cat will eventually go away. Should I? Yeah, that's the thing, and I think this is a great practice for our minds to remain present, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Which is one of the parts of the yoga, right? We are
Yeah.
not only doing the physical part, but are we present, or are we thinking of our to-do list?
Yeah, and you are like you are making where we are our yoga place. Yeah. So the yoga place is everywhere you go. Yeah. Hi, so just a brief interruption while I'm here editing the episode. I'd like to remind you that I'm offering online classes. So if you are listening this podcast, you want to try my online classes, take a look at my Instagram and see my schedule. I'm offering classes of Hatha and Ashtanga Yoga, and you can see the timetable there in Instagram. Then you can try one of my online classes, see if it's useful for you. Besides that, I'm teaching as well in my Patreon. I have a Patreon where I post some of my classes there, the theoretical classes and short and long practices. And I also there offer some classes and videos by requisition. So you can ask and make some questions and I can answer there. It's a good community. So yeah, I invite you to join this community. It's very cheap, like a coffee, and you can access all my exclusive content. Besides that, I'd like to inform you that I'm teaching um, every year, except those last 2 years due to the pandemic. I was not offering the the teacher training, but every year I teach my teacher trainings, an intensive teacher training, 1 month, classes every day, about 7 hours per day. So we study all the topics and anatomy, all the tradition, and all the details. It's a good experience, and I I'm sure that is a good preparation for teaching safely. Um, I teach every July in Brazil, so it's in Portuguese, but I also teach in Portugal every August, and it's in English. I had students from America, from Croatia, from Canada, from France, so people with different background. It's a very interesting experience. So if you want to experience this type of retreat intensive yoga course, take a look as well in my Instagram account. I have the link with all the info there. So it's another opportunity for those that already are yogis. Okay?
This is nice, now. That's good. That's
And,
beautiful.
and tell me, and what's the disadvantage of teaching online? Yeah.
This is something I experienced in the first a group that I had online, that it was pure online. That I will always say, can you position the camera in the way where I can see you? And then, I mean, again, we nobody has told us when we were teaching yoga 3 years ago that we needed to be professionals about cameras, video making, without having a professional paid to do these things if we are recording videos. So how are we gonna expect from them to put the camera in the perfect place in the tiniest living room they have, or the tiniest bedroom where they can like just roll out the mat and that's it? There is no more space. There's no more space. So I really miss the part of seeing more the physical practice. Because again, giving the verbal instructions of what is the pose we're going, the transition, which part of the body now moves, and how we engage and stuff like that. But how then people put that into action is something that sometimes I could not see. And I remember it was also a winter-ish. Well, it was around January, February, March, something like this. This is where I had the first group online. And it was dark in the Nordic countries. I mean, it was so dark, and the light, right? Not even if the camera was positioned well, but the light in the room. How can I see them? And even sometimes I would say people, I would also give the opportunity to say, I would prefer to see you with the camera on, but of course you have the choice to not have it on. Luckily, in my group, I didn't have people who didn't have it.
I don't give this option. Yeah, I gave it before, but I think it disturbs the environment, because some people can stay just drinking coffee and watching. You see, so I think it's better when you see that everybody's committed. Yeah.
Yeah, and, from my perspective as a yoga teacher, yeah, it's better if you see that they are doing what they are doing. But I was given the opportunity to say, maybe you don't feel that comfortable But again, then you can position the camera on a wrong angle and then still be there, right?
Uh, and besides the adjusting the camera and make the yoga mat visible, that you can see. Some students they sit, for example, behind the windows. So when they start to have light, then you don't see the student. Yeah. So we need to have all the notion. I try to when they subscribe to say, please prefer that the source of light face you. Try to make your yoga mat, the whole yoga mat, visible. Yeah. And yeah, and of course, I think the biggest disadvantage, I think it's the lack of physical touch, physical correction. Because
Yeah.
I think for my skill as a yoga teacher is still improving in a way that I can refine the description verbally. Yeah. So nowadays, because I can't touch, I need to describe more,
Much more. Yeah.
much more the activations and the intentions and the directions that what the
Definitely.
yeah. So I think it was a good, yeah, improvement. But of course, the adjustment and the push sometimes can be also very helpful. But I think that is important to have this different experiences. So sometimes you just learn how to pay attention and do by yourself. Sometimes you have the push. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think
Yeah, I think that people who are doing online classes are developing a different body awareness. Because I think, as if I put myself as a student, it's much easier to wait for the teacher to come and correct me, give me the physical adjustment, right?
you
But
become lazy?
yeah, I mean, not necessarily, but it can be the perfect way to become lazy,
Hmm.
because it's really easy to do the yoga without having the right engagement, right?
Hmm.
But I think they were developing a different body awareness, because if they knew the teacher will not be there because it will not ring the bell and go in your living room because you are online, then of course the way how we were giving instruction, we have changed. We need to give more details, but still be clear of what is the action, what is the movement, what is the engagement,
Hmm.
while we are still teaching the yoga, right? I think it's good things and bad things about it.
Yeah.
I would say that nowadays the grade will be a combination of the two of them. So going sometimes to a yoga studio and then other times do it at home, because I see that happening already. Right now, people who are working, for example, from home 3 days a week, they are doing classes, short classes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes in the break from work, where before they will not do that. Why? Because
Hmm.
they are in their homes. They
Hmm.
can play a video and make the yoga practice, or probably they could have done 2 years ago in the yoga studio, taking the time to commute, the time of the class and the time to come back home. So I think people are getting more benefits, or at least let's say we are getting to a wider audience with this way of teaching,
Yeah.
because there is more people, there is a different need from people working from home, that they have 20 minutes yoga, 20 minutes stretch your back, play, and they do it, and they have already this, not even 60
Yeah.
minutes, but they
Yeah.
have proof,
Yeah. It's something. Well, another thing that I was thinking now is, in the yoga history, this idea of practicing in group is something very new. Krishnamacharya, the teacher of Iyengar and the teacher of Patabi Joyce and Indra Devi, and so he was creating this idea of teaching for many people in the same room, because before that, before this last 4,000 years of yoga history, it was always one to one. And maybe online classes, even when we have a group of people, I think we have a bit more that's feeling that is one to one, because we're practicing by yourself. You are practicing alone in your home.
Yeah.
So and I think in this perspective, it seems something more personal. We see when you are in a group, we know that as teachers, we have some group personality. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have different groups and different uh, ego. How can I say that? Is each group have some
Each group is, yeah.
has some specific character. It's like a whole group creates a collective ego. Yeah. So depending of the group you are as a student, maybe it's not the ideal for you, because that feeling of group. And when you're practicing by yourself, it's your practice. So you are really studying your possibilities and studying your limitations, your potential, and maybe even practicing with more people. You can see more people in the screen. You are still, yeah, uh, more, aware of your
Yeah.
practice. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think,
yeah, I think you are right, and I give you completely my thoughts there in the way of how accessible is,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean, I see people practicing on their pajamas, and it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
is something I will invite, like you don't need to have the nicest yoga outfit. And sometimes
Exactly,
they make us believe that we need to have
exactly.
this type of perfect body to fit the perfect yoga outfit to then go and show in the yoga studio, look how cool my pants are. And right, but it's more like a naturalized perspective, as you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
more accessible, more like just walk up, have a cup of tea or
Ah,
whatever. I'm gonna roll out my mat.
uh,
My class starts in 15 minutes. Perfect.
yeah, and also another thing, yeah, this point that you don't need to commute, this is super good. This is super easy. You don't need to bike when it's raining, for example. Yeah, this is
Let's
super
say
good.
living in Denmark.
Yeah, but one other thing that I was thinking is when you are practicing in face to face and you have the teacher around, as you said, maybe you are waiting for some adjustment. You are waiting for some push. And when you are practicing at home, you know that the practice depends on you only.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So if you don't do right, you will not find progress. Yeah. You need
Exactly.
you need to adjust yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that the in my experience, when you learn how to adjust yourself and you learn how to do this right activations and the right alignment, then the face-to-face yoga practice is much
Much
easier,
easier.
much easier, because
Yeah.
then the teacher we would the adjustment it will be much easier, because I don't need to the student already understood that he is responsible for his progress. Yeah, we are
Yeah.
there just to give a little help,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. So true.
What else? What else? Let's see if we
So
have.
true. So something I notice as well as disadvantage of the online classes is that, for example, if we want the camera of the person who is doing yoga to be sideways so we can see the mat
Mm.
long, but how
Yes.
then they get confused because of course they want to see what we are doing, but it will be easier if they have it on the front, right?
Yeah, yeah,
As there will be a normal setup of the class where the teacher
uh,
is in the front and then we are sideways so we can see the length of the yoga teacher's mat. But course, our front. But again, this is the different perspective of, okay, now I can, it's not here, it's there. But how does it look to do an downward dog when you are looking where the teacher is doing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is another disadvantage. Like, it would be perfect to have them 2 cameras or something like this, 2 screens at least.
Yeah, or sometimes you can change. Sometimes when I'm teaching, I do in different angles the same pose, to show different things, and I try to show in a way, or to teach in a way that they are feeling straight, because if all the time they are doing the pose and they need to take a look, see, maybe you
maybe
hurt.
you are creating the tension already much more in your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as everything in life, we have
the
advantages.
disadvantages.
Yeah.
Everything in life.
So and you intend to keep practicing online from now on?
Yeah, at the moment I don't have a pure online group. It's more like this hybrid combination I mentioned to you earlier. I have the feeling that by the need of people, for example, now people who have known me now from the online courses or classes, they would like to keep practicing with me. And if they don't live here, I mean, that pure connection is that we can just do it via Zoom or the platform that you have, or any other possibility, because that is the only way. But if people live here, of course, if you go to the yoga studio, you will have the whole add-on to the yoga experience of, as you said, coming to the nice place, looking with the beautiful plants, the smell, and then you want to see the people that practice yoga with you on those days. So you are also creating more the community part in the way of going to a physical class with the people. But I think the online for all of the industries have come to stay, and that's because the new setup we have is to have the combination of online or physical or the hybrid. But I will my head is of course still to
I will keep. I will keep. I will keep because I think it's, as I said, an opportunity of teaching for those that they want to somehow personalize a little bit the practice for them. So sometimes I'm teaching also private classes online, so I can offer like a tailor-made yoga practice for the student, and also group classes. So even during the summer, if I'm traveling or abroad, I can teach the same routine, so people can keep keep their practice, and not
I think the one-on-one online will be the great scenario, I think, because then again, as we are right now in the call, then I'm just looking at you, you are looking at me, we are having this conversation. You can just go to the yoga mat and I can either guide you through my voice or only through my voice, and then showing some, for example, the peak pose of flow or stuff like that. And then you can see more the progress of that person. But of course, that's the different way of teaching, to do one-on-one or group. But I think it's great to do the one-on-one online. I think it's a great opportunity there that teachers could take.
Yeah, and also I think it's this idea of create short courses, short video courses, or even workshops that you can offer online. I think it can be very helpful, because now people are more used to this media content, and sometimes can be a way for deepen the studies. Yeah, we have not only the physical part and the way to protect the joints and improve some parts of the body, but also the theoretical part of yoga, to study those details and meditation and all the yoga values. So you are also preparing some courses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Actually, right now I'm in the middle of the 8-week inner child reconnect with your inner child course, and this is something where we do much more than yoga, of course, because it's not just the physical part. As I said, we normally open up with sharing circle, sharing of how we feel. Each week we have a different theme with a different focus that it links to the yoga practice. Sometimes we talk more about meditation, or again the yoga philosophy of how we do yoga without doing the yoga asana, because sometimes we have the feeling that you need to do yoga every day, and every day yoga is just to go and do the yoga poses. Where sometimes for me a simple 2 minutes, 3 minutes observing my breath in the morning before having my cup of tea, that is a beautiful moment of presence that is already giving me the benefits of yoga, and I'm
Yeah.
not doing a yoga asana. So I'm
Exactly.
always talking about this way of remember, this is not only the physical.
Exactly. Yeah. Good.
Of course, you get so much benefits from your body, and this is why most of people will start yoga practice, right? Because they will say, I want to get more flexibility, I want to gain strength, I want to regulate my stress levels or stuff like that. And something very interesting I read this morning, it was that 15 minutes of yoga practice, only 15 minutes a day, is scientifically proved that it can change how your hormones are shaping in your brain, how they are put it out in your blood, only by 15 minutes. So we don't
15.
even
15.
15, you don't even need the full hour to get the benefits of yoga. If you have 15 minutes, you can already take the huge benefit. I mean, think about it. I mean, this is
I, I,
scientifically proven,
I will live forever then.
right?
Because
Yeah,
I'm
that's what it is.
I'm practicing so much.
Yeah.
Vico.
But this is really good to tell the students, right? The new
Yeah,
ones, right?
yeah,
Say
yeah.
like,
Of
15
course.
minutes. You
Yeah.
have 15 minutes, even though it can be 5 minutes in the morning to breathe, 10 minutes in the afternoon. Just to do some simple cats and cows. That takes a lot
Uh,
of time.
I think one of the most important ideas in yoga is progression. So people sometimes they force themselves to start already in a searching for very advanced yoga poses, or to stay too long in meditation. So they join to like 2 hours yoga classes, and sometimes starting with 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and progressively uh, discovering the things, enjoying the journey. I think it's much more productive, much healthier, instead to jump in a very intense yoga class. Yeah,
Definitely.
that's something that people should value a bit more. And I
Yeah.
think Westerns in general, people are too
The small steps.
yeah too ambitious or too anxious to do
We just
everything.
wanted to get the end result without embracing the journey. I want
Yeah,
to get that yoga pose. I want to do a handstand. But gosh, do you know how hard it is to do a handstand? I mean, do you even know how the stability and the strength of your arms, of your
uh,
whole body needs to be to support your body weight on
uh,
your hands?
and also I think you gain more benefits on the journey than
Yeah.
doing just a pose. Like if you are capable to do, I don't know, handstand or head, what you gain?
And then
See?
what?
Yeah,
Handstands is not going to make you a better person. Think
exactly,
about it.
exactly.
The handstands. Yeah. Yeah.
Vico, thanks so much for this conversation.
Oh, thank
So
you.
we promised so one other meeting we have in Spanish, okay?
Yes,
So
we already say that. Yeah.
I will practice
Yeah.
my portuñol.
La próxima en español.
Yes. Okay. So
Yes, thank you.
and when if people want to reach you, where is the best place?
Yeah, they can find my website is Yoga with Vico. And then there they can see all the courses I'm offering right now. I'm gonna launch a new program, which is gonna be a 5-day routine to build the habit of practicing yoga little by little in 5 days. So this is coming very soon. And of course, the Inner Child course is one of my biggest a course that I guide, and it gets a lot of really good reviews. You can go on the website and read about them. And yeah, and then if you are in Copenhagen and if you want to join to my classes, of course, just feel free. The studio is really close to Forum Station in Frederiksberg. And the outdoor season is coming soon. So the sun is getting warm. So then we're going to go to this garden to make some yoga with tapas.
And are you on Instagram? You want to leave your
Yes, sure.
Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah. Instagram and Facebook as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thank you, Bruno. It was such a great pleasure to have this
Thank
talk
you.
and reflections. Yeah.
See you
Yeah. Thank
around.
you. See
Bye.
you. Take care.
Namaste.
Bye.
And keep on track cultivating health, peaceful mind, yoga, intelligent nutrition, and your strategies for plenitude. Until the next time.